Hey, college coaches. This is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a startup company based in Austin, Texas, and we're focused on helping student athletes successfully transition from high school to college and then either into a professional career based in their sport or into a job based on their major. Before we get into our guest tonight, let me first thank our sponsors who do a great job of helping us create this platform to give student athletes a chance to share their stories and share their journey. Go Edit Graphics, a new graphics company based up in Nebraska. They are focused on helping high school and athletic departments share communication about their players, about their sports, about their program in general, outbound communication with really great, dazzling graphics. So whether it's a player spotlight or a game schedule or a game result or any type of outbound communication from the athletic department, you might want to check out Go Edit Graphics and use their graphics to get your information out there. Also, Buffalo Wild Wings. Everybody loves wings. They're a national brand. A good friend of mine is original VP there. Brian Soltis does a great job of supporting high school sports all over the country through Buffalo Wild Wings and specifically here in Texas. And then also Epic. Epic is a new and exciting sports apparel company based in Austin, Texas. In Houston, Texas. A good friend of mine, Stefan Johnson, is the CEO. Epic stands for Every Play I Compete, and you can go to their Twitter page at I am Epic 24/7. They do uniforms, they do 7-on-7 jerseys, they do hats and caps and gloves and mask and everything, but they do it with a really interesting design. So make sure you definitely go check out the Epic Twitter page. Now, with all that said, let's talk about our guest that we have on tonight. I got to know this young man last summer when he came out to our showcase. I also had a chance to interview his brother. Koby Truehill is a class of 23 left-handed quarterback, which I love. He's at Paetow High School, which is down in the Katy area. He's got great size, 6'4", 185 pounds. He's got a great GPA of 4.0. He's a National Honor Society student, and he's playing right now for Air Raid 7-on-7. Koby, how you doing this evening?
Doing great, Coach. Thank you for having me.
Oh man, thanks for coming on the show. I'm so excited about having you tell your story. We've heard your brothers and his period is taken off, and now it's your turn, your time at the bat. So let's jump right in here, Koby. You know, the first thing I always like to talk about is the thing that college coaches care about the most, and that's academics. You're rocking that 4.0 GPA, which I love. Tell these coaches about your focus on your academics.
I try to understand the material no matter like in every single class as much as I can so I can so I can perform my best in them.
Okay, good stuff. And it's obviously working for you. What are some of your favorite classes that drive your GPA?
My favorite class that I take is medical terminology because I love learning how the body system works and how each thing leads to another thing.
Okay. So do I hear a future in medicine of some type once you get done with football?
Yes, sir. In college, I plan to major in pre-med and become an anesthesiologist.
Yeah, I love that. I love you have goals already set for that. That is perfect. Tell us. I know you got the favorite class medical. You know, there's not a student athlete that doesn't have somebody working behind the scenes helping them academically, whether it's a coach, a teacher, a counselor, an AP. Take this time to shout out somebody that's helped you academically so far.
I want to shout out my medical terminology teacher, Miss Bester, for making the material fun and just making me fall in love with the pre-medical route.
Okay. Tell us, learning style is important. College coaches want to understand what kind of learning style you have. So tell these coaches, are you more of a verbal, visual, or hands-on learning style?
In the classroom, I'm more of a physical learner. I have to actually do something before I understand it, but on the field, I'm verbal or visual. It really doesn't matter.
Okay, nothing wrong with that. And then tell us, body language in the classroom is important. And we know that college coaches can't be on campus yet, but eventually will be. But give these coaches a preview. If they were to walk in and you're back in class on campus here soon, and they see you, tell them about your body language, tell them where you're sitting and how you interact with your teachers and your classmates.
I'll be right at the front of the classroom, asking questions, interacting with my peers. I love group assignments because it really gets to you really get to see how much others around you know, and it gives you a different perspective on the topic.
Okay. We got that 4.0 GPA, which means you don't struggle in a lot of classes, but in college, things get harder. Give these college coaches some insight that when you do have a class that you struggle in, what are some of the things you're going to do to help turn that class around for you?
Well, first I try to look over my notes to relearn the topic, but if it gets to a point to where I just don't understand it, I'll go to a tutor or my teacher so we can go over that material.
Nice. That's a great practice. Hey, let's switch over and learn more about you and the family and you personally. Tell us about the Truehill family. What do your mom and dad do? Tell us about your siblings. Give us a little bit of background about the Truehill family.
So I have an older brother who's 17. I have an older sister who's a teacher out in Conroe who just got her master's degree from LSU. My mom is a executive director for a restaurant corporation down here in Texas called Luby's, and my dad is a travel analyst.
Okay, I love it. So you're the baby of the family. You've got an older brother who's doing really well with his recruiting right now. We had him on the podcast, and he's taken off. And then you got a sister who's already got a master's. I mean, what kind of pressure? Does that pressure drive you to be as successful as your older siblings?
Absolutely.
Okay, good stuff. Tell us, we know with you having a 4.0 GPA, that takes up a lot of time to stay on top of your academics. We also know that you're working out, you're playing 7-on-7. When you do have a few free moments or hours, what are some of your hobbies and interests to let these coaches know?
I like to read books, and I also like to do woodworking projects like building desks or like, building cutting boards. It's just really, it really relaxes me. It takes my mind off of football in school.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. Social media, Kobe, is a big part of recruiting right now, and I've obviously done your Twitter page. But for coaches that have not visited your Twitter page, tell them what kind of message are you putting out there about yourself? What is that Twitter page communicating about you and your teammates? Tell them about the brand that you're trying to put out there about Koby Truehill.
I want coaches to look at me and know that I'm very professional. I'm to the point. I handle my business on and off the field. I want to show how I'm active in the community and I'm active with my teammates.
Okay, good stuff. Let's lighten up a little bit. A couple of what I call my favorite questions. Tell me, what's your favorite all-time football movie?
The Water Boy.
Okay, classic. I like it. What is your favorite food?
Chicken and waffles.
Perfect. Me too. I love that. Okay. And if who's your favorite superhero, and who would you be if you had a choice to be one?
I would probably be Falcon from the Avengers because at first he started off like, kind of as like a role player. He wasn't the main guy, but as the movies progressed, he started to become that leader, which I think reflects my recruiting process right now.
I like it. Very good analogy on that. Tell us, college coaches have the old saying, when I coach in college also, you recruit the kid, but you recruit the family. Tell us who is going to be involved with helping you make the final decision of where you'll commit to in a couple of years.
Well, definitely my mom and dad, my brother, also my quarterback coach at the school, Coach O'Connor, and my quarterback trainer, Coach Reggie McNeil.
I happen to know Reggie really well. He played against my son when he was at A&M. My son played at Texas. He's a great guy. He's doing a great job helping these young quarterbacks out there. But shout out to Reggie, man. We look forward to seeing you here coming up this summer. And a great job to your coach and helping you get fine-tuned in your fundamentals. Let's talk a little bit about that. You being a quarterback is a leadership position, no matter how you try and get around it. Tell us about how you handle the highs and lows of being a quarterback.
Like my quarterback coach, Coach O'Connor, always tells us, you're going to get the most fame, you're going to get the most blame. So you have to stay level-headed. You can't get too high, you can't get too low.
Yep. And then how do you handle that? How do you handle one play throwing a touchdown pass and the next series throwing a pick? How do you handle those highs and lows?
If I throw a touchdown pass, I'm going to be fired up, get the guys around me hyped up. But then I'll say, all right, that was a good play, but let's focus. Let's go to the next one. The job's not done. If I throw a pick or someone drops a pass or someone has a bad play, I pick them up and say, hey, we got this, still 4 quarters of football left to play.
That's awesome. That's exactly the kind of answer that coaches want to hear from their quarterback. There's not a student athlete in the country, and especially here in Texas, where we play in front of big crowds, that doesn't love playing on Friday night in front of a packed house at their home stadium. But it's important to give back to your community. Give us an idea, Kobe, what you're doing to give back to your community. Are you involved in your church? Are you involved in some nonprofits? Did you help other people out during our winter snowstorm last week? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we try to give back. Well, me and my family try to give back in any way we can. You know, whether it's like donating blankets to the homeless, or feeding the homeless, or helping helping out in community centers. We just do everything we can to give back.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, got to give back. You know, one of my favorite questions, Kobe, and I know that you kids your age don't look at it, but eventually football will come to an end one day. You talked about it earlier, but tell us, what do you want your life to look like personally and professionally when the game is over, whenever that is?
Whenever I'm done with football, hopefully I'll be enrolled in medical school, getting my residency done, and you know, pursuing what I love, which is anesthesiology.
Okay. Do you want to have a family one day? You want to be married? You want to be a single guy your whole life? What's that looking like?
You know, want to raise a family, want to provide for them, want to give them better than I have.
Okay, good stuff. Tell us, what does do you have a favorite quote, and can you share it with us?
That's a good one.
Like one of my, you probably heard this at the showcase. One of my favorite quotes is hard work pays off. No matter what you do, if you put in the work, it will come back and reciprocate itself to you. Do you have a favorite quote?
I like one quote by Kobe Bryant. He says, "Winning takes precedence. There's no almost," and that kind of symbolizes what I'm going through right now. It's just something I want to live by.
Yeah, that's a great Kobe quote. One of many by the Black Mamba. I appreciate that. Tell me a little bit about, you've been playing sports a long time. I'm sure you've got great height, great athletic ability. What's your all-time favorite sports memory of yourself? Maybe back in Pee Wee football or basketball. Tell us a time when you think back and made yourself smile, like, hey, yeah, I did that back when I was in fifth grade or seventh grade or whatever. What's that memory?
Actually, it was the first game of this previous season. It was my first game at Paetow. We were playing Katie Taylor, and we were down by 21 points in the fourth quarter. You know, we just really couldn't get anything going offensively. And I remember on the sideline, I told the team, I was like, defense, give me a stop. Offense, keep doing what we're doing. We're going to win this game. And sure enough, we went down, scored 3 quick touchdowns. You know, the other team responded with another touchdown. We scored again, and I ran it for the game-winning 2-point conversion.
Nice. Okay. I like that. That's a great memory, especially against a really good team. A lot of good athletes down there. My other favorite question, Kobe, and I think I talked to your dad about this at the showcase, but what is your why? Why do you play football? What drives you when you don't want to work out? You don't want to go throw with Coach McNeil. You just don't want to, days you don't feel like practicing. What's your why? What drives and motivates you?
My love for the game of football.
Short and simple. That's it, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When did that love of football start? How long was it in Pee Wee? Was it in middle school? When did you really say, like, hey, this is the game I love? Because you could play a lot of the sports, I assume, but why football?
Well, I played it since I was 4 years old. You know, watching my brother play, how my brother excelled in it, I was thinking, man, if my brother can do it, I can do it too. And I started coming into my own, and that's just how it happened.
Okay. All right. Tell these coaches, do you have a nickname? You got a family nickname, or do your teammates call you by nickname, or you just go by Kobe?
I just go by Kobe. Just a
Okay.
Jack.
All right. I like it. Tell us, you mentioned earlier you're working with your high school coach and Coach Reggie McNeil, your quarterback trainer. What are some of the things you're working on going into next season? Footwork, arm strength. Give us an idea of what you're working on to improve for next year.
Well, this past season, I felt like I did a good job. You know, getting the ball downfield, throwing on the run. Throwing on the run was one of my strengths. Something that I'm working on with my trainers right now is throwing with velocity over the middle, and also working on mobility, moving out of the pocket.
Okay, good stuff. Let's switch over and learn more about your recruiting. You just finished your sophomore year. You're still very early in the recruiting process. You've seen how your brothers are starting to take off. But tell us, one thing coaches want to understand is, how would your teammates describe you as a teammate?
Selfless, very detail oriented, a verbal leader that can still lead by example, someone that brings people up around them.
Okay, I like that. And then tell us, what do you consider, what actually this way, what motivates you? What motivates you to be the best quarterback you can be?
What motivates me is not trying to let my teammates down. I'm trying to give my teammates 100% every play, every down, every snap. So if I feel like if I don't be my best, the team can't be their best.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love how you said that. That makes a lot of sense. Tell me, one thing about being a great student athlete, especially in football, is being dependable. If you tell a coach I'm going to be there at 3 o'clock, you're there early. Tell us, how would your teammates and your coaches would they describe you as being a dependable player? So Koby, every coach and every player, every teammate loves a dependable player. Would your coaches and your teammates describe you as a dependable player?
Absolutely. I think I'm dependable because, I'm first person in the weight room, last person out the weight room. Love watching film, love studying the game.
Okay, good stuff. And then there's I always I always put players in two different buckets. Those that just love to play the game on Friday night and those that love to practice leading up to a game. Which player are you? Which bucket are you in?
I love practicing, I love the process, waking up early, the conditioning, the film sessions, the recovery, going taking the ice baths. I love every single moment of it.
The quarterback position is as mentioned earlier, is a position of leadership, regardless if we want it or not. Because especially at quarterback, you've got to know the blocking schemes, you have to know the routes, you got to know the protection, you got to know the defenses, what coverages are in. Tell us, how do you, as a young developing quarterback, process all that data pre-snap?
I just take it one step at a time. First, I'm gonna start off with the down lineman. Okay, is the edge in a three technique? Is in the seven technique, a nine technique? Is he a wide nine? Then I start making my way to the linebackers. Okay, is it the even front? Is it a split front? Then I start looking at safeties in the secondary. Okay, are they rolling into a cover two? Is it a cover one robber? Stuff like that.
That is a perfect response. It's exactly what a coach wants to hear, that you're processing the defense at each level and understanding how that may affect the play. So that is perfect response there. Is there a certain quarterback at the college or pro level that you look up to and pattern your game off of?
I would say Justin Herbert because we're both bigger quarterbacks. I love the way Justin Herbert throws the ball downfield. He also takes off and runs when he needs to. He can make all the throws. Someone I definitely want to model my game after.
Okay, that's very, very good. A lot of similarities there. Definitely makes sense. Obviously, I know you're playing for Air Raid right now. Tell us what's that been like. I know you guys just started the season, but tell me, what? I guess the question I would like to ask kids is, what are you getting out of 7-on-7? How is it helping you become a better player for the fall?
Well, it helps me out a lot because usually you really can't run a spread offense every single play. You have to mix in run plays, you have to mix in options, stuff like that. So with 7-on-7, it's really allowing me to see the whole field, seeing how routes develop, seeing the different coverages.
Okay, no, that's a great response. I love hearing from players why they love 7-on-7. That's one of them. The competition and the ability to get more throws in and live competitive action is exactly what you should be getting out of it. Mental toughness is a big part of playing quarterback, as you know, and playing football, Koby. Tell us, how important is mental toughness to you as a quarterback?
To me, being mentally tough is the most important thing at the quarterback position. Everybody counts on you to get the job done. And if you're not mentally tough, the job isn't going to get done the way it should.
Absolutely. No, great response. You've got great height. We talked about it earlier, 6'4", 185. Obviously athletic, watched your film. What other sports have you played? I'm sure you play basketball, you compete in track right now. Give us a little bit about your sports background.
Well, I played a little bit of basketball in middle school. I really don't run track competitively, but I do the workouts. But right now, I'm strictly all football.
Okay. And I want to make sure that coaches understand that. So, and players too who watch this video, this interview, just because when you run track doesn't mean you have to compete in meets. Just do the workouts. There's not a coach in the country that if a football player is not running track and not just in meets but doing the workouts, you're not trying to get faster in some part of your game. It's kind of a red flag. So whether or not you're running in the meets doesn't matter. Make sure you're competing and doing the workouts to do what you can to get faster in your position. So I love that you hear that you're doing that. Another thing about the quarterback position, Koby, is leadership. Tell us, how do you define leadership, and how do you plan on leading your team next year as a junior?
I define leadership as setting a standard of excellence. Like other other positions, they may not have to show up as early or have to do as much extra stuff outside of practice. But by being the quarterback, you have to do all that and more. So I plan on leading my team, verbally, getting them riled up, getting them hyped up, but also by example, by showing them, hey, this is the way we do things. This is how we're going to be successful.
Okay, great answer, great response. Let's before we finish up here, let's talk about recruiting. You're still very early, just finishing your sophomore year. Your brother's taking off. Tell us about your recruiting experience right now. Who are you hearing from? Who do you want to hear from? And what's your recruiting plan right now that you have worked out with you and your dad?
So right now I'm getting a few follows from a couple of Ivy League schools, like, Coach Fab from Columbia, a few people from Dartmouth, Harvard. So right now we're just trying to focus on, getting bigger, faster, stronger. So that way towards that junior year, we'll start, getting some calls, hopefully start getting some offers on the line.
It's a great plan, great strategy with your 4.0 GPA. I'm not surprised to see Ivy League. I'll just go on the record right now. I have a lot of friends that coach at a lot of different levels, but there's nothing like an Ivy League education that will set you up for life. My nephew graduated from Harvard, from Southern California. He's also a lefty quarterback, played there, and he's doing big things now. So just so we have it clear on the record, I'm all for Ivy League, and I think that's a great way to have a great education and a great playing experience as a student athlete. Tell us a little bit about, your competitive spirit. There's not a coach in the country that doesn't love coaching a competitive player. Tell these coaches, how would you describe yourself as a competitive player?
When it comes to competing on the football field, I think I bring my competitive level to a whole nother level. Competing with my brother. We're in the yard, we're running routes and stuff. He'd do a drill, like he'll do a back pedal drill. I'll be making jokes. I say, man, I can do that in my sleep. I do it better, yada yada yada. This really fuels us to do better. This pushes everybody around me.
Well, and I got to ask, right, obviously you mentioned earlier, I interviewed KJ. I mean, usually with brothers like you guys, a couple years apart, if one's DB, the other one's a receiver. He's a DB. How did you end up playing quarterback? How did that start? When did you start playing quarterback, and when did you make that decision?
So I started playing quarterback in the third grade because I was out in the yard and my dad noticed, like, I would throw a football and it'd be like a perfect spot. He'd be like, okay, do that again. And we would just do that. And ever since then, he was like, I want you to play quarterback. And I was a third grader playing on a fourth grade team. And ever since then, I just kept playing.
Okay. And not to throw shade at KJ, but it sounds like KJ can't throw.
He can't.
He said that's why he's a DB. I love that. Well, hey, Koby, I love the story. I love your journey. I love sharing this with coaches right now. But let's finish up. We talked about the elevator pitch earlier. Look at the camera right now. Tell these coaches why they should recruit you and what you're going to bring to their program if they do.
Whoever recruits me is going to get a prototype QB, a left-handed QB that's accurate, that can make throws on the run, that throws with velocity, that can make any throw from sideline to sideline. On top of that, who's an honor roll student, 4.0 GPA, National Honor Society, who's a great leader and a hard worker.
That might be the best elevator pitch I've ever heard, Koby. Great job on that. Man, I want to thank you. We're going to get this recording out to coaches across the country and help you. I suggest you share it out too. For those that are watching this interview, please go to our YouTube page and subscribe and share it, because I'm telling you, we'll be talking about Koby True here as one of the top quarterbacks in his class here coming up. And so, Koby, I'll follow up with you, keep in contact with you and KJ and your dad. If you need anything or have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Okay.
Sounds great, Coach. Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a great night. Tell the family I said hi.
Yes, sir. We'll do.
All right. Bye.